Hi guys, Vape Bomber here again. Another video here, obviously with deeming regulations coming down in California as of August 8th. Vape shops will no longer be able to change your cotton or do builds. Obviously, support your right to vape. Call your local legislators, support HR 2058 and the Cole Bishop Amendment if you are here in California. Until then, we're going to do our second video here. We're going to show you how to do a cotton change. Obviously we're going to be doing a bunch of videos to show you how to do all sorts of basic upkeep on your devices. This particular one is just referring to a simple cotton change on your dripping rebuildable atomizer. So today here I got my Kennedy on a Hexome V2.1. First thing you'll want to do is obviously take your cap off, and we're going to remove the old cotton. What I like to use is actually a pair of these snips, and I do like to trim the cotton to make it easier. The reason you want to do this is so you don't actually move your coils around, because you can obviously hurt the way your device is working by moving your coils and wiggling them around too much. So I'm just cutting them out. Alright. The second step from here is you actually want to glow your coils. You want to get them glowing red hot orange, or red, or orange, whatever you decide. At this point, I'm taking a cup of purified water. You don't want to use tap water or hose water or anything like that, just because they have chemicals inside of them, or they'll have calcium, and you don't want those calcium deposits to build up on your coils. So I'm using a cup of like drinking water, or purified or deionized water is usually the best. I'm actually going to glow the coils. As soon as I dip them in the water, I am going to let off the button and dip them till they're cool. What this physically does is removes all carbon buildup off the coils. And we're going to go ahead and do this one more time. At this point, we're going to see that the coils are glowing evenly. Right now I do have one that's lighting up a little bit more than the others, so at this point I do like to use my ceramic tweezers and work the coils just a little bit to ensure that they are glowing nice and evenly. Shake off some excess water here. There we go, nice and even glow. So this next step, we'll take our cotton. Obviously we're using traditional Japanese cotton. I have already cut it into 2 strips. There are different ways of rolling your cotton or cutting them to prepare them. What I usually like to do is take my strips. I like to trim them down just a little bit. And I actually make a small point. What that does is that allows it to feed through your coils a little bit easier. Separate my 2 strips. Starting at the narrow end, I want to roll my cotton. I did leave the outer layers on. You can choose to take those off. It does make it look a little fluffier, a little more presentable, but it's up to you. There are different ways of doing it. So certainly this is something you can play with to find the perfect, we'll call it fluffiness. Or texture that your cotton has. So starting at the narrow end, slide the cotton through the center of the coil. Now when pulling your cotton through the coil, you don't want it super tight where you're going to be moving the coils, but you don't want it too loose either. If it's too loose and it slides in and out easy, it's going to prematurely burn up your cotton. And then vice versa, if you have it too tight, it's going to burn up as well. It's not going to want to wick. We're going to trim the cotton here. So that'll be the first side. We're just going to obviously repeat the process for the second side. I'm a little critical when it comes to my cotton. I like it to look super fluffy and super even. So the last step in this process is to simply tuck your cotton. On this Kennedy, it does have bottom airflow underneath here, so I am going to be tucking them on either sides of that airflow. For that, I'm just using a small flathead screwdriver just to tuck my cotton in. It's pretty straightforward. Now obviously different types of atomizers or different types of drippers are going to have different depth juice wells. So some will be able to hold more cotton, some will be able to hold less. It's important not to overstuff it just because that can cause leaking issues. Always be mindful of the airflow of your particular atomizer as well as the deck depth. Alright, so we have our cotton installed. At this point you're going to prime it. The technique I usually like to use, I call painting or drawing, and basically I'm just kind of coloring all the cotton. I want it to be fully saturated, almost oversaturated with juice, especially for the first wick. I'm using a slightly yellow juice, which gives a good image here for our YouTube video, so you can really see how much juice I am applying to these coils. At this point, I usually do like to tuck my cotton just a little bit more. I don't want it to catch between the cap and the deck, so I'm making sure that all that cotton is safely tucked away inside the deck. If you catch the cotton in between the deck, it may pull it out of your coil or may make it look messy and not want to hold as much juice. So I do like to do this a little bit when it's wet. It's kind of like a snowball and likes to pack a little bit better. So we'll give it one more good prime. And she's ready to vape. It's as easy as that. Thank you guys for watching. As always, vape safe.